A major snowstorm is on the way for areas of the southeast for this coming weekend, and a blizzard is even possible for certain areas with this storm system. The first thing we'll do is we'll cover all the individual model runs, and then we'll spend a lot of time getting very detailed on these snow graphics. And we're in range now. We can pull up all the National Weather Service graphics. So we'll be able to get up close and personal with you guys with this system. After that, we'll nerd out with you guys one last time. Not going to do it anymore. And we'll really just explain the setup, the energy associated with it, and all that nerding out stuff. My name is Mitch. Good Thursday evening. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there. Subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you like it, and if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please drop it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling tonight. So let's go over the latest Euro first. The blue you see on your screen, that is snow. The green is rain. Anything in between, like you might see some orange, some pink show up, that's a wintry mix, but this is mainly going to be a snow event for anybody that's, got winter weather in their forecast. So we're going to start off with tomorrow afternoon, under 24 hours from now. I mean, this thing is right out ahead of us, folks. And we got some snow breaking out across areas of Kentucky, Tennessee, just pretty much where West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia connect here. And all model guidance likes the idea of this. As we continue to move forward, we get into tomorrow night. This is like midnight, 1 a.m. Tomorrow night. There's a couple things happening here. The upper level low is diving in. You're going to have a lot of energy, meaning moisture to the surface. In this case, it will be snow already filling in your screen here. But you'll see some moisture down here too across South Carolina, southeastern areas in North Carolina. This is the coastal low trying to crank here. So as we start to move into a Saturday morning, we're waking up to an all-out snowstorm across eastern areas of Tennessee, can't talk, western areas of North Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina, even northern areas of Georgia. And yes, there is a little bit of snow trying to get all the way back into northern Alabama. Now, we start to move into about midday, early afternoon Saturday, and an all-out snowstorm breaking out. It's continuing across eastern Tennessee, the Piedmont, the Carolinas, all the way into northern, northeastern areas of Georgia. Now, you might wonder, well, what's going on for us here in North Carolina? Well, the eastern areas of North Carolina. Well, this gap does try to fill in here. First off, you got heavy snow beginning to fall out in the Outer Banks, with blizzard conditions more than likely beginning to develop, especially late Saturday. So as we continue to move forward, there is that dry slot showing up here with a transfer of energy from the upper low to the coastal low. They're all kind of connecting here somewhat, but there's a transfer from one dominant energy to another dominant energy. And that's that coastal low cranking up. But most model guidance likes the idea of the upper low with a touch of coastal enhancement really cranking the snow. I mean, this is Saturday, 7 p.m. or so, and the snowstorm is just raging on across, the Midlands of South Carolina. It's snowing all the way down to the coastal areas of South Carolina. It's still snowing in northeast Georgia, and it's still even snowing all the way back into eastern Tennessee, and it's snowing like crazy in this darker blue up into Charlotte. But then you can see this elevated area right here cranking up. This is the coastal. Now, does that gap ever fill in? It doesn't. So Raleigh is a tricky spot to be. Raleigh right into this area, right? If you kind of put this in motion, right, you're thinking you're about to get hit, and then it transfers to the coast, and instead it just snows like crazy down to Fayetteville, Wilmington, Myrtle Beach. It's a tough thing to figure out. If you hit me up in the messenger or comment, Mitch, do you think the dry slot's going to happen here or there? Not trying to be rude, but I just don't know. I really don't. It's kind of a thing where we got to figure it out on the fly, meaning, unfortunately, we're going to find out the hard way. And that is going to be in the middle of the storm system itself. But Columbia, it's still snowing. At 1 o'clock in the morning Sunday. And this thing, this is an all out blizzard potentially ongoing, maybe as far south as the South Carolina coastline. Folks, we're going to get blizzard warnings. And I think there's a small possibility we even get blizzard warnings inland, like maybe all the way into the Piedmont of the Carolinas. I'm not going to say that's going to happen, but I would not be surprised. We're waking up Sunday morning, there's still a blizzard cranking out across the eastern areas of North Carolina. How far north? I know I didn't mention Virginia much, but how far north does the heavy axis of snow get up in southern areas of Virginia? There's a lot of disagreements with that. Now, I don't want to leave my folks up here in the Northeast hanging here. Here's the Euro, and let's make sure we have the entirety of the run because I hadn't finished when I started. And here it comes cranking up. It barely is clipping the Maryland, Delaware, Jersey coastline. It barely clips here. in the eastern areas of Long Island. It comes up and it gets just close enough to become a moderate to high impact event out across the Cape and Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and gets to snow a little bit into Boston, but it's definitely not as aggressive as the past few Euros. And in fact, I mean, it never really fully becomes a significant event at all for the down east areas of Maine. So model guys, I mean, we could get some last second ticks, and those ticks mean everything. 30 miles is a huge deal for this Northeast, but right now, model guy, it's kind of locked in that this is going to kind of miss the Northeast for the most part. Now, what about the GFS? Closer look at the Carolinas here. We'll begin to speed this up. I promise we're not going to spend that much time on each model run, folks. But this is Friday afternoon. Same thing. Model Guys agrees that we're going to have a light to maybe moderate snow up here and cold temperatures dropping down. All right, as we continue to move forward, this is the middle of the night tomorrow night. Snow breaking out across the same areas that the Euro showed. Everything in blue is snow. And then we start to get into Saturday morning. Snow's starting to fall in the Midlands of South Carolina. Snow's trying to get all the way back to Atlanta. And it's snowing like crazy in areas of just the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina. You can see splotchy areas of blue, darker blue, across the Carolinas. And then we start to move into about Saturday afternoon. You can see the coastal trying to get going here with an area of very heavy snow out in way in eastern coastal areas in North Carolina. And you can just see a big blob of kind of dark blue across the Carolinas, stretching all the way back into northeast Georgia. It's like it's just pinpointing the Carolinas. And then we continue to move forward, and we start to get that transfer of energy, but it fills in the gap a little bit more than what the Euro does across areas of the Triangle of North Carolina. But, I mean, this is just moderate to heavy snow, just moving across the Carolinas. We're getting to Saturday evening, and, you know, I really think we're going to get some sort of back-end band here as the upper level low kind of influences the atmosphere here and really creates almost what could be some sort of vort-driven area of snow. I don't want to get too nerding out with you guys, but there is something that continuously keeps showing up here in eastern areas of Georgia, kind of straddling the South Carolina-Georgia line that's probably going to enhance snow right in this area. Someone's going to get in that crazy band that I think is going to drop about a half a foot of snow in eastern areas of Georgia. But you can see coastal areas cranking up here, very heavy snow developing. And I mean, look at this band right here. If this is the way it plays out, guys, someone's going to get jackpotted here. Meaning someone's going to get over a foot of snow. And it's actually trying to back build. Look at the coastal lows developing, and this darker corridor blue actually builds back west here. But, you know, as we're starting to get into Sunday morning, still snowing on the coastline, then it wraps up. For example, I mean, I'm going to use Columbia for an example here. Columbia, I mean, it starts snowing Saturday morning, doesn't stop fully until, I mean, right before the sun comes up Sunday morning. For some areas, this is definitely going to be a 24-hour event. I mean, but it can range anywhere from a 12 to a 36-hour event. So that's the GFS. What about the Canadian? The GFS misses the Northeast. That's why I don't show you. The Canadian has been rock solid with the same scenario. Same thing we get into Saturday morning. You can see coastal begins to, crank up a lot faster. We get this heavy band of snow developing. A little bit of a wintry mix trying to show up there. But, I mean, altogether, it's the same footprint. I mean, this is Saturday, late Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and we got a snowstorm all the way down to eastern Georgia, southeastern Georgia, right over the Midlands of South Carolina. I will say the Canadian kind of hoodoos the Piedmont, North Carolina a little bit. It gives them snow, but there you can see the dry slot here on the Canadian. I mean, it's not dry, but it's not as heavy snow up here. So that's something to watch. Someone is going to get just gypped. I mean, it's going to happen to somebody. We just got to figure out who. And this is the Canadian for the Northeast. It comes up, misses the Northeast coastline for the most part, but it clips Cape Cod, brings some moderate snow, but for altogether, the Canadian is not a big hit. Now we look at the the GFS AI. Remember, it only shows precipitation. You kind of got to take my word for it, whether it's snow or not. And, we put this in motion. You're going to see some shades of gray and green. That is snow. And as we move this, we get into Saturday morning. That is snow. Across the southern Alps, west and east of it, even showing a little bit of snow all the way back into Nashville. And then you're going to see a big blob, kind of a connection of green here. And all that green you see over South Carolina, Georgia, into the Piedmont, North Carolina, that is snow. But the AI models do not like the idea they develop the coastal low, but they don't like the idea of it throwing a lot of moisture back into Raleigh or southern areas of Virginia. Like the GFSAI kind of just misses southern Virginia altogether. It develops the coastal low, cranks out a significant snowstorm along the Carolina coastline, but it basically whiffs. I mean, it doesn't completely whiff, but the northern areas of North Carolina into southern Virginia sort of whiff on this. And then it moves on out. Now, what about the Euro AI, which I haven't even looked at this. It doesn't even look like it's ran yet, so there might be some sort of lag going on. In fact, I'm going to try to pull up tropical tidbits and see if, yeah, it's ran on here. So we can look at it here. Okay, a little bit of a different way to look at this, but still the same way. All right, so same thing. Anything green except in the Gulf, obviously, is snow. So we get this going. That is snow. Snow breaking out across the same areas that GFSAI showed it, and it kind of pivots in. That's that upper level low. There's your coastal developing. There's that dry slot. There it is. Ugh. I really hope it doesn't happen. But this is all snow all the way back to Atlanta, Columbia, Charlotte. I know it's green. It's not rain. That's snow. And then it pivots through, and then it fills in that gap. So the Euro AI fills it in, okay? And it gets you good here and across areas of Raleigh, Goldsboro, Greenville, and all that stuff up here. And then it pops off a 986 low and begins to crank out a significant snowstorm over areas of, and this is a blizzard. This is definitely a blizzard over areas of eastern North Carolina. And then it just cranks up the east coast line here. But let's kind of look at the trend here, see what we got. So, yeah, there's not much with this. There's not much wiggling around. I would say the upper low's ticking south. And then if you kind of look here, let's see what the look here looks like. I know that's probably like really messing you up there. But yeah, there is a trend towards this low being a little bit closer. So you can see the AI guidance, kind of breaking loose from that idea that it's going to be a whiff from the coastal. GFSAI still just ain't in your favor if you're a snow weather fan, like up in Raleigh points north, for example. Now, I will look at the NAM. This is the 3km NAM, and we'll just put this in motion pretty fast. And you can see same footprint of snow. The NAM gets the snow up into Raleigh, gets the snow up in the eastern areas of North Carolina, but it only goes about 60 hours out. But, it's snowing all the way down to Savannah, folks. It's snowing all the way down to Tybee Island. And then we stop it here, and it's still snowing along the eastern sections of the Carolinas, up in southeast Virginia. And, one heck of an event for sure on the NAM. But you look at the end of the HRRR model here, and the OOZ run is about to run. And this is what it shows. A lot more splotchy with the snow. But, at the end of the run, it's bringing snow as far, and you can see this banding feature. It's bringing snow as far south as central Georgia, all the way down to Macon. You can see that coastal low developing here. And a very splotchy look with the snow there. But, it is a high resolution model, so it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to try to be more defined with the bandings of snow here. But this is the kind of the Canadian short range here, and it's been on it for a while. And I will tell you, it really gets a crazy band of snow going here in the PD into the Sandhills, up into Fayetteville, Florence, up into Fayetteville, kind of up that 95 exchange here, going early. This is 5 o'clock in the morning. It's already got a crazy band of snow setting up. And then you can see the coastal get going, and then you can see the upper level low getting going right here with bandings of moderate to heavy snow. And then you can see Myrtle Beach at the end of the run. This is 1 o'clock in the morning Sunday. It is crushing Myrtle Beach into southeastern areas of of North Carolina. And the low is still cranking up. It's a long storm, guys. All right, so what we're about to do now is we're going to go over all the snowfall graphics. Now, I'm going to start it off kind of west, kind of make our way south, then back north. So I'm not going to spend a super long time on this, but we're going to show you these individual graphics from the National Weather Service. It'll get you a really better idea of what you can expect as of right now. So this is eastern areas of Kentucky. Hopefully my face isn't in the way. Calling for a few inches of snow. This is just kind of winter weather advisory type stuff for you guys as standards. But you guys got accumulating snow on the way. This will really get going tomorrow afternoon. And then we take a look at eastern areas of Tennessee. Several inches of snow. This has trended better. Knoxville 2 to 7 now. Chattanooga, 1/2 inch to 2 inches. You know, Gatlinburg, 5 to 9. Johnson City, Tri-Cities area. I know I got a lot of loyal viewers from this region. Several inches of snow on the way. So pause the screen if I'm going too fast. Now let's drop it down into Atlanta. Let's make sure we don't have a new graphic here. I don't think we do, but it's gonna update here. Yeah. And no, we don't. This is the latest forecast. And what changed today is you got winter storm watches in Atlanta now. But they're calling for about 1 inch in Atlanta. And I know you're thinking, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it will be a big deal if it's falling in very, very cold temperatures. And you can go back to 2014, late January, around this time, when 1 inch or 2 of snow absolutely crippled Atlanta. We all remember that, right? But the further east you get, the more snow you get. The further up 85, the further up down 20, you get, the more accumulating snow you're actually going to get in the system. So Gainesville, 3 inches, you know, Blairsville, 3 inches, Athens, 3 to 4. And I mean, even more snow down here in like Sandersville. So now we start against the low country of South Carolina. This includes other areas of Georgia too, Beaufort, you know, 1/2 inch to 1 inch, going for about 1 to 3 in Charleston. So, I mean, you guys have been looking up lately. You know, this will be the second winter in a row where you're going to get accumulating snow. And sometimes we can go a very long time without ever getting accumulating snow down here. Orangeburg, 3 to 6, Barnwell, 2 to 4, Waltersboro, 1 to 3, Georgetown, 3 to 7. And then we get up into my neck of the woods. And I'm going to update this graphic. Hopefully they don't lower it here. That'll be a buzzkill. And no, we don't have a new update. But this is my neck of the woods. I live here in Columbia, and they're calling for 1/2 foot. Guys, I just can't explain to you how, honestly, I haven't been crazy excited today, not because I don't want to, but I think I'm just a little bit unbelief. I mean, they're now calling for 1/2 foot of snow in Columbia, where I live. And you guys that's been loyal to my channel for a while know what this means to me. This is personal. This has emotion built into it. And this is awesome. But anyways, let's not lose track here. Lancaster, 8 inches. Winsboro, 7 to 8. Camden, 7 to 8. Sherrall, Chesterfield, I mean, you guys are going to get several inches of snow. Get down to Edgeville, Aiken, you know, 3 to 5 inches of snow. Newberry, 6 to 7. So, yeah, guys, I mean, you get up to the Greenville, Spartanburg, into the PD of North Carolina, and then the mountains of North Carolina. Asheville going for about 5. Waynesville, 5, 6 inches. The Greenville, Spartanburg, good for 5 to 7 inches pretty much. Rock Hill, about 8. Charlotte, same thing. And listen, there's going to be some areas that's going to overachieve. I guarantee you somebody in the Piedmont's going to get 1 foot of snow. And when I say Piedmont, I'm meaning down in the northern areas in South Carolina too. I shouldn't have said guarantee, but I'm highly confident. And then we'll kind of go back east, okay? This is southeast North Carolina, and then kind of the Myrtle Beach area, Florence area of South Carolina. Florence, 7 to 8 inches. Dillon, same thing. Myrtle Beach, 5 to 6 inches of snow. Second winter in a row where you're going to get a snowstorm. Crazy, ain't it? Wilmington, 8 to 9 inches of snow. This is another area that can overachieve, but this is also an area that can get dry slotted, guys. So be aware of that. I think everybody and their brother's uncle's pet cow has been forewarned for this. Every meteorologist in the Carolinas is trying to include that in their forecast. Somebody is going to get a dry slot. Let's hope it doesn't happen, though. And then this is the area where we can get a blizzard. In fact, I think we'll get multiple blizzard warnings. If not, this entire area gets a blizzard warning at some point. You might start off as winter storm warnings, but then go to a blizzard warning. But check it out. You know, Outer Banks special, where you can get 10 to 15 inches of snow. Greenville, 9 to 10. So, I mean, a big one's coming for this area. And then we look at the Raleigh area and surrounding regions. Winston-Salem, Greensboro, 7 to 9 inches of snow. Raleigh going from 9 to 10. And some of the higher range, like the, what do they call it? Basically the high range of this, I mean, you could get over 1.5 foot of snow. But I mean, this entire area is going to get a lot. But this entire area also runs the risk of a dry slot. You know, I showed you some of the model runs that really hoodooed kind of the northern areas of this region. Someone is not going to get what they were forecast to get. And I'll say that on the high end and on the low end, folks. Someone's going to get over 1 foot here. Someone might just get a few inches of snow. You're being warned multiple times. And then this is kind of West Virginia, the other sections of North Carolina. Boone, 7 to 11 inches of snow, 6 to 11. And then Danville 5 to 13, Blacksburg 3 to 10, wide range. And the reason the range gets so wide in this area is because you're right on the northern fringe of moisture. Plenty cold enough, everybody is, but you just don't have enough moisture to work with. And then this is another area that can just not get as much moisture in your region. But I think that Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, Elizabeth City, you can get a blizzard out of this. But this is the forecast from the National Weather Service as of right now. Several inches of snow. The closer you get into North Carolina, Petersburg, 5 inches, Richmond, 3-4 inches of snow. And you get into Okemac, 5 inches. You get into the kind of the Tidewater area, Chesapeake Bay, a few to as much as several inches of snow, especially the further south you get. This area can overachieve too. And then I will show some love to the Jersey Shore area, and everybody in between Delaware. And you're right on the fringe, a little tick west with this system, and you can get a lot more snow than what you're seeing. And I will show Boston too. As of right now, Boston going for around 2 inches, but you get out on the Cape, you can get over a half a foot, if not more. Nantucket going for 9 inches of snow. So this area can change fast, guys. I mean, you can go from just calling for a couple inches to a foot of snow just like that. So this is the latest Euro. Okay, and I'll just take a broad look at this for the most part, and the footprint has not changed, okay? Really pinpointing the Carolinas, eastern areas of Tennessee, northeastern areas of Georgia has really gotten to this now, where it was just looking like, you really weren't going to get a whole lot at all. You can see the sharp cutoff in northern and central Virginia here, and you can see how it clips southeastern Mass, but big run. And then you look at the GFS, and I don't have the Northeast shown just because it doesn't hit the Northeast, but it really just pinpoints the Carolinas here. And the GFS shows the idea. Hey, somebody is going to get what we call a deformation band, where a band of very heavy snow is just going to pivot over your area. And if that happens, you can get 1 to 2 inch per hour rates. You can get thunder snow, and you're going to overachieve. You're going to get 1.5 feet of snow. I think it's going to happen for somebody. I really do. And I mean, you can even see this. Let's take a closer look. You can even see this on the Euro, guys, except the Euro indicates that dry slot here, but it shows a band right here, and it just shows the upper level low really cranking. Most model guidance likes the upper level low regardless. And almost in my opinion, I'd much rather be as a snow weather fan in the upper level low part of this, where you're almost a lock to get something significant. But some people like to play the lottery. I don't. But this is the Canadian, it's not as aggressive. It's kind of backed off, but one thing it is aggressive with is the coastal low now, and it's dropping 1.5 feet of snow in eastern areas of North Carolina, even over 10 inches of snow in Myrtle Beach. And it cranks up the upper level low too, but I mean, that's a huge difference between the Euro here dropping 10 to 12 inches of snow across the Piedmont and the Carolinas, and the Canadian just dropping a few to several inches of snow. But you do look at the latest Euro ensemble, and I think I have the current run. Let's see. Yeah, it increased it even more. Let's see what yeah. So let's just look at a closer look here at the southeast. Here we go. So this is the run from earlier this afternoon. Okay, this is the current run. You see how it likes that upper level low more? Like, you see that area in purple? This is really the upper level low part of it. And then you see this area in purple. That's really the coastal. There's kind of two jackpot areas. And I mean, it even increased this is the Euro ensemble, by the way. It blends in 51 members, creates a mean and an average. And I mean, it increased it across. I mean, now, and this is just a 10-to-1 ratio, folks. 10-to-1 ratio. It'll be higher. So anywhere where you see, for example, 5.3 inches in Columbia, I mean, you can multiply that by a time and a half. So I mean, that's probably 6, 7, 8, 9 inches, which is right around where the National Weather Service is forecasting. But you can see that area. I mean, that was a bump up. That's an increase. So what about the GFS ensemble? Same footprint here. It just likes the Carolinas. So I do want to mention winds. This is the National Weather Service forecast for winds. And they're going with a max wind gust in the Outer Banks of around 60, 65 miles per hour. Now, I want to mention there's a couple areas, and let's see if we got a new look with this. No, it hasn't finished running yet. There's a couple areas I want to mention. One is the mountains. I think you have winter storm warnings right now in most of the mountains. I think you can get upgrades to blizzard warnings in this area. And then I do think you're going to get blizzard warnings across southeast Virginia and eastern areas of North Carolina. But an area that I'm watching that is absolutely going to start off, in my opinion, you're going to start off with winter storm warnings. But I think you can have a sneaky switch from a winter storm warning I'm sorry if I said that wrong. You're going to start off as winter storm warnings, but I think you could have a change to a blizzard warning kind of on the fly, like at the beginning of the storm or in the middle of the storm in this region. Let me tell you, it would be absolutely insane to get like a blizzard warning in Columbia or Florence or Fayetteville or Charlotte. I mean, that would just be insanity. Regardless of if you get a blizzard warning or not, you're going to have brief blizzard conditions, 35-mile-per-hour winds or more criteria. It's just, are you going to sustain it for a period of time, which is what kind of drives a winter storm warning. So, I mean, I think you're going to get a blizzard warning out on the Cape. There's just a chance you might not get multiple feet of snow. And then one thing I want to mention that I haven't touched on a whole lot is the temperatures. These are forecast low temperatures Sunday morning, February the 1st. And I think that these could drop more depending on snowpack. But right now, going for bitterly cold temperatures. I mean, we're going to probably wake up to some single digits for certain areas. I think the colder morning, potentially for certain areas, it is going to be Monday morning, where if you still have snowpack on the ground, I don't think it's going to melt a ton. You're going to have bright sunshine, more than likely, for a lot of areas of the Carolinas. But anywhere that still has snowpack on the ground, you're going to fall into the single digits. And I think there's a chance that it gets into the single digits Sunday morning. And then temperatures do moderate, but it's still going to be a morning in the low 20s and the teens, even Tuesday morning. So, and this is the dangerous part. You know, I've even had my pastor, reaching out, hey, what do you think, we're going to be able to have church service Sunday morning? And, I didn't tell him no, but I said, the weather is definitely going to impact it. And it's not just the icy roads is still going to be on the ground, but if you look at the wind chill, guys, make sure I don't get too far in time. This is the forecast wind chill as we're getting into Sunday morning in the negatives. This is the wind chill, not the actual air temperature, in the negatives, guys. I mean, so it's going to be very cold. So, all right, let's look at any kind of changes with this. Let's make sure we update this. Make sure we don't have any new change. No, we don't. So this is watches, warnings, and advisories. The pink area right here, this is winter storm warnings. You do have winter storm warnings, I'm sorry, up into, well, let's back it up a little bit. Make sure it's too close. You have winter storm warnings, getting into Virginia. Okay, winter storm warnings into eastern areas of Tennessee now, the Tri-Cities area. Knoxville, Johnson City, you got winter storm warnings. Asheville, winter storm warnings up. And winter storm watches extend all the way back to Atlanta now, almost all the way back to Macon. Augusta, it stops a county north of Savannah, Charleston, the entire state of South Carolina. I don't even have to say it. The entire state of South Carolina has winter storm watches. And we have winter storm watches for the rest of the areas of North Carolina don't have winter storm warnings. And then we have winter storm watches up for the southern areas of Virginia. Do we have anything up here? No, not yet. But what we're going to wake up to tomorrow is a ton of winter storm warnings. And I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up to blizzard warnings in this area right here. Not one bit, but they might start off as just winter storm warnings. But I really think this entire area right into here wakes up to winter storm warnings. That's my call. Or either they issue them, if you're a night owl, they'll issue them when you're still awake tonight. I think they'll hold off in Atlanta, in my opinion, for a little bit. But I mean, confidence is sky high in this region right here. So just to kind of nerd out with you guys a little bit, this is the, let's make sure we got it right here. This is the energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere, the 500 millibar pattern, 18,000 feet up in the air. So our main area of energy is right here, diving out of Canada into the lower 48. And let's use a different color. Let's use black. That is our main area of energy. Now, you got areas of southern stream energy kind of riding below it, but this is the main show right here. So if this is energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere, what does this mean in the surface, like where we're standing, right? Well, if we pause it here, this is tomorrow evening. You would think there's a lot of snow showing up right here. Well, there's not. Okay, and that's because this energy is still very positively tilted. It has not dug in yet, therefore it's not exploded moisture to the surface. So we just have a little bit of snow in the same time frame that I just showed you the energy, just over, central Alps, things like that. Okay, central southern Alps. Now, I want you to watch how this energy begins to dig in and then curl. And quick reminder, this is a positive tilt. Okay, this is a neutral tilt, which indicates a strengthening storm system, and this is a negative tilt. When this happens, you pop off a strong low pressure, and it's a sign of a strong or strengthening storm system. And that's what's going to happen. So as we're moving forward, you can see how our energy begins to drop down. Okay, taking on that positive tilt right over the Mid-South. We get into Saturday morning, and then we get all the way into about 3 or 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. And you can see at this point, now our energy is in a strengthening phase, scooping up a little bit of southern stream energy with it. So now it's digging like this. So if it's in a strengthening phase, what does that mean to the surface? Watch how the moisture blossoms in response. I forgot, I didn't load the screen. Man, we were flowing good there. I'm just lying, we're gonna keep going. But watch how the moisture blossoms in response across the Carolinas. You see what happens there? See how all of a sudden a bunch of snow shows up at the Carolinas and surrounding states? That's in response to this. Okay? And as this continues to kind of curl its way this way, it takes on more of that negative tilt as we're getting into late Saturday night and a Sunday morning. And then we'll look at the precipitation. You can see it pops off a strong low pressure. And you can see it the best right here. As that thing takes on negative tilt, we get a deepening low pressure right here. And once again, I didn't load the screen. And all of a sudden, we pop off a 970-ish low pressure, and we get a blizzard in the eastern areas in North Carolina surrounding regions. Hope that makes sense. I'll probably be one of the last times we do that, guys. I think moving forward, as we get into tomorrow, we're probably just going to focus in on the storm itself and all of that good stuff. And I know that is the storm itself, but what I mean is we're probably just going to give you updated model guidance. We kind of understand what's going on with the system, and little small ticks here and there are going to make that snow shield, that snow kind of footprint shift here or there. But for the most part, I don't think that this is going to significantly shift one way or the other moving forward. I think the big thing we got to figure out is the jackpot regions and the dry slot areas. And I just don't think we're really going to figure that out until we're looking at the radar and that snow is moving into your location. So God bless all y'all. Appreciate the support. I was not able to get to the comments from the last 2 videos today. Getting behind, but I took the day off tomorrow. I got such a cool work family. I just went up to my boss yesterday and I was just like, man, listen, man, I just want to stay home Friday, get called up, stay up to date with the weather, kind of engage with my people here, and just nerd out. And he's like, that's cool, man. Take the day off. So I'm lucky and blessed to have a job where I work where I can do that. So I will be off tomorrow. I'll be catching up with some things, getting ready, and then I'll just kind of hunker down and nerd out on the computer for a bit. So I'll be able to have some time to answer some questions. I might even go live. I don't have a nice setup like others. Like Gerald does a fantastic job. You can tell people are loving that, and he's killing it with that. And that's something that I'm going to kind of bring into my channel over the summer. I mean, I'm pretty much locked into doing that so I can engage with y'all more. But I might find a kind of a workaround to do it with you guys tomorrow and just kind of conversate with you folks if I get a little bit of time tomorrow afternoon. So be looking for that. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk again in the morning.